Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please, I will urge you to subscribe to the channel for us. Hit the notification bell for more updates. Like and also share to other members on your contact list as well. You can also leave a comment after watching or send us a voice note on our WhatsApp number, which is 0277 128777. This station still remains PENDREAM TV. Please do subscribe as a new member. Thank you. I want you to join me, give a listening ear to Ablakwa on one-on-one interview on the food poisoning issues or the rice the free eaters are taking, which is an expired food they are taking. Thank you.
My name is Alfred Okanse. This morning, in fact, for the past almost 3 weeks now, the conversation about some suspected or reported expired rice being fed to senior high schools, a number of them across the country, has been one that has generated a lot of conversation and concern amongst parents especially, who have been reading and hearing this conversation about this expired rice. Since then, in fact, since Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa put out this matter in one of his many exposés recently, there's been a number of reactions from the Ministry of Education, the Chief of Staff, some executives of the MPP, and some members of government, all speaking about this particular exposé that was put out. The latest is from the Food and Drugs Authority. They have insisted that no student in any senior high school was fed with expired rice. And they insist that whatever charges that were leveled against the said company, Lamen's investment, was for what they described as regulatory violations. As to what that means, we have a statement and the details of it from the FDA, which we'll get into. But while we're at it, there's something else coming from the Conference of Heads of Assisted Senior High Schools, which we'll touch on as well as we go on. Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa is Member of Parliament for the North Tongue constituency and seeking the mandate of the people again in the next 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks away from today. And also is the chair of the Government Assurances Committee of Parliament and then a member of a number of committees in this 8th Parliament. Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, good morning. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, Alfred. Good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. And I'll be joined by a number of our guests as we go on as well here on Key Point. Now, before we get into the latest one, you know, in the next 2 weeks, two weeks, exactly 2 weeks away from today, 2 weeks, Saturday, 7th December, you are going to seek the mandate of the people again. What is happening in your constituency? Stand you are faced by a competent opponent who's causing you sleepless nights. Really?
Let me extend very warm greetings to the distinguished viewers of TV3. And I would like to use this opportunity to extend very, very warm regards to the chiefs and people of the North Tongue constituency and to thank them for their continuous loyalty, their continuous support, and the collective strides that we are making to improve the lot of our people. As we speak, we are currently carrying out free hernia surgeries in my constituency. You know that I built together with partners, Manos Unidas of Spain, an NGO. We built the Atamils surgical block in my constituency in the Tagaji area. That entire north bank of the Volta region has never had a surgical facility. As we speak, that surgical facility is in use this week. As of yesterday, we had done over 50 free hernia surgeries, and we continue. So I want to use this opportunity to thank the doctors, Dr. Cham, and his colleagues who have volunteered to make good use of the surgical facility. They love the facility, they love the equipment, and these are state-of-the-art equipment. And I'm told that if my constituents had gone to the hospital, I've had to pay a great deal of money, even if you have health insurance. So to have this hernia surgery free of charge is really something that they are excited about. And I'm receiving a lot of calls from the patients, from their relatives. They are really, really touched about the gesture. Interestingly, a number of people, since they saw the pictures and the footage of the free hernia surgery, have called across the country that they also want to benefit. They said, well, if the doctors are, because the doctors are on their feet from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we want to see how we can also accommodate a few more people outside the constituency. But these are the interventions that I continue to carry out. You saw the last time that all the BEC candidates going to secondary school, we called all of them, over 1,500 of them, and were able to help them with the procurement, the prospectus items, pardon me, the prospectus items, chop box, mattresses, provisions, and then the vocational artisans, those who are doing apprenticeship. We've also provided tools for them so that they can serve as startup kits to initiate their own businesses. So hair dryers, sewing machines, laptops for our final year students. So there's a lot that we are doing. So for us, it's not really about just campaigning. We continue with the, I do these medical outreaches every quarter. So we are continuing with our interventions that we do to improve the laws, because that's my understanding of politics. That politics should be about improving the lot of the people. But let me say, as I conclude, that I expect that 2 weeks from now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will be elected. I haven't seen any campaigner who really works as hard as he does. He was in the Eastern region yesterday, just next to my constituency, the Sojaman constituency, and then went to a Kropong. He's working very hard, and his policies are really transformational. Many people are looking up to him, to some of the things we'll be discussing today, to crack the whip, to clean up the system, to reset Ghana, to stop the state capture, to stop the corruption, and to usher us into a new dawn of integrity, the leadership of integrity, where institutions are protected, where the credibility of our institutions are not attacked, and where there is prosperity for all people. So
you mentioned what has been done in the last few days in that constituency. In fact, when you put it out on social media, one of the questions that many people were asking is why you all wait few weeks to the elections before you start doing these things, when you know that there are so many people in your constituency who have been living with hernia. Why do you wait till this moment before you start doing it? Because you want their votes. Why do you take advantage of that?
I will ask, good question. I will ask all those people making those comments to just stay on my wall, keep scrolling up, and go all the way. As far back as a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, all the way. Just go all the way. I mean, from day one, that's what I do. I am not one who waits for
Well, we're seeing a lot
elections.
of last-minute projects because you just want to get the people
not me.
You shouldn't be hoodwinking people.
No, not at all. I'm not one to do that. I'm not one to do that. I mean, there's a reason why in the last election, the 2020 election, I got the widest victory margin in the whole of Ghana. There's a reason. The whole Ghana. 89.7%. You can check the Electoral Commission's data. So we are not people who just abandon the people, leave them, and then when it's time for elections, we show up. I mean, my people are so discerning, so rational, they will not fall for that. So as I told you, this Dr. Cham, who I talked about, I've been working with him for more than 10 years now. He's my public health advisor. We put up this Atamil surgical block. It's almost 3 years now, and we have been doing these medical outreaches every quarter. Just go on my social media handles, and you'll see the work we do on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. We do not. I mean, remember that this hernia surgery, for example, you don't just call up people to come. So they have to first come for screening, which was done several months ago, and then the doctors must check that, you know, they really are fit to go under the knife, you know, and then the surgery dates are fixed, and then we have to put together the medications and all of that. So these are not things that just happen overnight, you know.
Because you mentioned,
so we rest assured.
You mentioned state capture and everything that you have been doing over the period. Just a minute, quick update on this GIS land matter that the last time you were here, just about over a month ago, we spoke about. What's the latest to that particular attempt to take some lands belonging to the Ghana International School? Quick one.
Yes, so I can assure the people of Ghana that we continue to be vigilant, and so far, those unscrupulous elements who decided to work under the cover of darkness to steal that asset which belongs to GIS, they have not succeeded. GIS has been able to complete its fencing project. The checks that we have conducted confirm unimpeachably that the land continues to belong to the GIS. Okay. So you can be rest assured. But I want to use this opportunity to also reveal that that same marauding gang operating within the cantonment Labone airport area, we want them to know that we are monitoring the activities, we have them on the radar, and it is just a matter of time. And look, one of the main reasons why the overwhelming majority of Ghanaians will be voting for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is for gangs like that, nation wreckers like that, to be brought to book. Are you aware that within that same enclave, you have those same operators terrorizing families? The Lomote family have lost their property, number 49 Labone. I put out those details a couple of weeks ago, where their building that they have owned for 60 years and more, demolished by a company called Dream Citrix with high political connections. I put out all of those facts. Very, very high political connections all the way to the presidency. The money to get the Lands Commission to give them a lease, which the Lands Commission has now withdrawn. I've published the letter by Timothy Anyidoho.
The lease the Lands Commission gave to this company?
Yes, to Dream Citrix. And they claim that they made a mistake. I mean, how can you make such a costly mistake? And as we speak, this company, Dream Citrix, the owners, the family, after suffering the unjust demolition, decided to take over their land, at least go back to salvage what is theirs. So they decided to erect a wall. Will you believe that this Dream Citrix continues to enjoy police protection, and a few weeks ago went to demolish the land? After demolishing the property, they went to demolish the wall, pardon me. You know, so still enjoying police protection and acting with impunity. When the Lands Commission has withdrawn the lease, that it was an error, nobody really believes that error. If there wasn't the oversight that we carried out and the public outreach, you know, that emerged after that expose, they will have gotten away with that land. And there are many other families that have reached out to me, you know, within that enclave, facing this, you know, cruel state capture, where they come in, they manage to manipulate the system. They have all kinds of documents. And in this case, in the Dream Citrix case, you have the Ladade Kotopon Municipal Assembly giving them the all green, you know, to go ahead, when they should have known that that is a property that belongs to the State Housing Company. Now the State Housing Company has also written saying that, look, LADMA and the Lands Commission have absolutely no business, and that those owners of the property are legitimate owners, and they should never have given the lease to Dream Citrix. So these are the things going on, you know, the impunity. Now, as we speak, this helpless family have lost Their property has been demolished. It's now bare land. And they are in a fight of their lives to maintain the land and to prevent others, those marauding, state capture elements from taking over their property. I mean, what kind of jungle, what kind of lawlessness, is the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government superintendent? And this cannot be allowed to continue.
The Lands Commission says that lease was a mistake.
Yes.
I see. But the latest that you put out is what has generated a number of reactions. In fact, the latest is the FDA, the Food and Drug Authority, responding and going on record to explain that they confirmed that the rice was safe for consumption after rigorous lab tests. This was how they described the test, rigorous lab tests. And before that, the Ministry of Education had come out to clearly indicate that they will not sit down for expired rice repackaged to be fed some senior high school students, as you have alleged. Now, I want also hear from the head of public affairs, the public relations officer for the Ministry of Education, Kwesi Kwarteng, who spoke to us on this matter, and why you are still insisting that the narrative put out by the FDA is not a clear and full representation of what is happening. Let's listen to him.
It is not disputed that indeed the consignment that came into the country by December 2023, it was very close or near to its shelf life in terms of the date that had been on the original labeling, being the best before date. But of course, the company had apparently written to FDA with the aim of seeking to extend the best before date. Right. FDA had to require certain tests on the product before they extended it. But after that was granted, the company, again, from the findings that we made, wrote to FDA and requested FDA to give them an approval. And based on that approval, the company was going to do a repackaging. Of course, if you had read the earlier notice that we brought out, according to the company, they were just doing that to prevent issues of backlash, because, I mean, people may not really get the whole understanding as to how the product is labeled within a specific date where the best before date was supposed to be elapsed and then an extension has been granted. Okay. So it was that approval that was denied by the FDA. That is where even the company found themselves in trouble when the FDA decided to fine them an amount of 100,000. So even with regards to the fine was in relation to the repackaging, the fact that they did not get approval for the repackaging and not the wholesomeness of the food. Of course, I do not have the capacity, the authority, even the expertise to make such determination as to whether or not the food is wholesome. I mean, likewise, the Ministry of Education. But FDA made such determination, and I'm sure, obviously, they aligned with their own internal protocols to be able to arrive with that conclusion. All right. So the most fundamental question is whether or not the food was wholesome and safe, and that the FDA has answered in the affirmative that yes, the food was safe. The second question as to whether they had approval to rebag the food, they didn't have the approval, and that is how come the FDA slashed the fine on them.
Food and Drug, that's the Ministry of Education Public Relations Officer, Kwesi Kwarteng there. So he concedes to a number of things, Ablakwa, and also defends or denies other issues that you put out. The fact that, yes, the food was wholesome and safe, that's number one, that's their position. Second point, that, yes, the company, this Lamens Investment, was fined 100,000 cedis for regulatory violations, and that they didn't have the approval to repackage the expired rice, even though the FDA said they had done rigorous lab tests confirming its wholesomeness. The company was not giving the license to repackage. And we also found out that the company changed the country of origin for their rice when they repackaged it from India to made in Ghana. All of that They say they have been fined for this 22,000 bags of 50 kg rice. Now, a number of my guests are going to be joining us in a bit as we go on. But why do you still question or, as it were, raise concerns about the FDA's position on this matter? Because they are saying that after their rigorous test, the rice was wholesome.
Well, first of all, let me commend you, TV3, for really taking keen interest in this matter. Since I put out this expose, you are one of the media houses that have followed. You've really done a lot of independent background work, and you've followed this keenly. The continuous discussion this morning shows the commitment that you have, particularly to the children of our country. The Constitution of Ghana enjoins all of us to make sure that we protect the rights of children. Parliament is enjoined under the Constitution to even pass laws that to safeguard, because children are so vulnerable. We're talking about 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, minors really, and I mean, they are voiceless. Who speaks for them? Who seeks their interests? And that is what this is about. So as I commend TV3 and the number of media houses that have really taken this matter up, I want to also emphasize that my sole interest in this matter, I am a parent. I have children schooling in Ghana. Fundamentally, that is what this is about. Who speaks for these vulnerable children? Who are voiceless? Who don't have a platform?
Well, the Chief of Staff says that there's no place for propaganda in education.
And who protects their interests. That is why we have all of these institutions established by law to make sure that our children and all of us are safe. We are talking about a public health matter. This is about health and safety. It is about lives. So let us not be distracted at all. Fundamentally, this is about the health of our children, the health of students placed under the care of the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education Service. And we are talking about institutions we have given tremendous resources to, taxpayer funds, to make sure that they do the right thing to protect these children and indeed to protect all of us. So let's situate this in proper context.
Right.
Now, background. What really happened? Because I've noticed that a lot of people are fudging the issues quite deliberately. So on the 20th of December, 2023, the Ashanti Regional Police Command and the FDA received an alert. And God bless that patriot, that good Samaritan. I don't know him or her, never met him or her, but that person is a real hero in this matter, in this scandal. That unknown person.
Unknown person from...
Who gave that unknown Ghanaian, who gave the alert. I am not a hero in this matter. I'm not. I'm just doing my constitutional mandate. And I seek no plaudits. I seek no credit. I insist that all the credit, all the plaudits, all praise must go to this unknown Ghanaian who gave this tip-off. Now, what was the alert he gave, or she gave? The alert was that at the National Food Buffer Stock Company storage facility in Brouhaha, Kumasi. Can you believe that? Not at the company's warehouse or some hideout, somewhere removed, and they were engaged in this criminal enterprise. At a state facility.
That's a buffer stock.
The Buffer Stock Company storage facility in Kumasi. At the time the alert came, out of the 22,000 50 kg bags of Moshosho rice from India, they had rebagged 15,000.
As of this 20th December.
As of 20th December, they had rebagged 15,000. Now, all of us, please, just cut out a lot of the attacks on me and the attempts to really just fudge these issues and muddy the waters. If you have nothing to hide, if you mean well, you care about the health of our children, why were you secretly, clandestinely, without recourse to the laws of our country, rebagging rice? And what were they doing in the rebagging? The Moshosho rice from India, which had met its best before date, December 2023. Remember, this was going on in December 2023, so it had met its best before date. They were transferring the rice into new bags and have published the pictures. Your viewers can put it out. I have the evidence here, which I'll leave all of these documents with you. So you have Moshosho rice. This is the original label. 25% broken white rice, double polished Sortex, Indian rice. Origin, India. Production, December 2021. Best before, December 2023. Net weight, 50 kg. Batch number, 12/2021. 4. Registration number, FDA CE 20701. That was the original bag as imported. Moshosho rice from India. Then, criminally, they transferred the rice into a new bag which had this inscription, Sidao ECOWAS. ECOWAS. I mean, can you believe that?
Sidao ECOWAS.
ECOWAS. Regional Food Security Reserve. Net weight, 50 kg. Origin, Ghana.
So in this rebagging, the name of the rice was changed. The country of origin
changed. And to make matters worse, the new bags did not contain any expiry date or best before date.
So you mean the one with the Sidao?
The ECOWAS bags, yes.
That's the repackaged.
The
one.
repackaged
Didn't have
one.
any expiry date.
No expiry date.
But
and the origin changed from India to Ghana. Can you believe that? Now, what do our laws say? I have here the Public Health Act 2012, Act 851. Section 103 provides, a person who manufactures, labels, packages, sells, or advertises food in a manner that is false, misleading, deceptive, or misbranded as regards its character, nature, value, additives, substance, quality, quantity, composition, merit, or safety, commits an offense. Our laws are very, very clear. Very, very clear on this matter. You come to section 106. It says, a person shall not manufacture a food for sale unless the food is manufactured under the supervision of a person with appropriate knowledge and qualification who can ensure the purity, quality, and wholesomeness of the food. So, multiple laws have been breached violently in this matter. If you read the LI 1541, the Ghana Standards Board, Food, Drugs, and Other Goods, General Labeling Rules, 1992, it's very clear that no person shall offer for sale, distribute, import, or otherwise dispose of pre-packaged food or drug unless the food or drug is marked or labeled with the name of the food or drug, a list of ingredients in the food or in respect of drugs, active ingredients showing the amounts present in the drug, an indication of the minimum durability in the form of date of manufacture, an expiry date, or best before date, or use by date in respect of food, or 2, date of manufacture and expiry date in respect of drugs. So, Act 851 has been violated, LI 1541 has been violated. So when the Chief of Staff says that, oh, Ghanaians should ignore all of what I'm saying is all untrue, is mere propaganda, the height of recklessness, of irresponsibility. You are Chief of Staff. You are to coordinate government machinery. Invite all of these institutions. You don't do that. You don't even look at the evidence. You don't look at the documents, the facts. And then you hurriedly jump into such reckless conclusions. You are a mother. You should care about the health of these children.
He says, she says propaganda and rumor mongering has no place in education. How can all
of this be rumor mongering? So we are building up. So Alfred, we know the criminality that was going on at the buffer stock storage facility. Please, let me emphasize that. And so far in this discussion, the buffer stock company has not offered any concrete explanation on why they went into this criminal conspiracy, why they permitted the company, Lamens Africa Investments, to use its storage facility in Kumasi for this cruel, callous act. They have been left off the hook. They have not been sanctioned. The board chair, Nana Boachi, is all over the place, saying that this is propaganda. The CEO, Mr. Abdul Wahab, is busy campaigning in Pusiga as the MPP parliamentary candidate. And do you know that this law, Act 851, requires that all storage facilities of food must be registered. The National Food Buffer Stock Company storage facility in Kumasi, the FDA found out that it is not registered.
The FDA did the investigation.
They did the investigation.
And they found out that this warehouse that the repackaging and rebagging was done has not been certified for storage of food.
Absolutely. Can you believe that?
Buffer Stock Company. Do you have that letter from the FDA?
Can you believe that? I have the report here. Yes.
I see.
It is signed by the regional head, John Laye Odai Tete.
Regional head of who?
Of the FDA, Ashanti region.
Indicating that
yes,
the warehouse
it says report on a preliminary investigation on the alleged unauthorized rebagging of rice at the National Buffer Stock Company. Let me just read through quickly. It says the Ashanti Regional Office of the Food and Drugs Authority received an alert on 20th December 2023 about a repackaging exercise which had not been authorized by the FDA, being carried out at the storage facility of the National Buffer Stock in the Ashanti region. A team of officers were dispatched to the said location to ascertain the veracity of the alert. Let me quickly go to the findings. The findings outlined below were arrived at during preliminary investigation at the storage facility, as well as a meeting held with the Deputy Education Minister, Honorable John Ntim Fojo. So this is quite revealing. Remember the Minister of Education, after my expose, said they didn't know anything about this and that they were now going to investigate. The FDA says in this report that Reverend John Ntim Fojo was contacted. The Ministry of Education knew about this. They could have stopped the redistribution of this rice as far back as January this year. They didn't. So the Ministry of Education is complicit. They have serious questions to answer. Let me continue with this report. It says that, and two representatives of the importer, Lamens Investments Africa Limited, in person, namely Eli Dogbe, Operations Manager, and Simon Ojei, the Ashanti Regional Coordinator. Now, note that Simon Ojei is one of two directors of Lamens, the notorious Lamens, which had in 2021 been indicted by the Auditor General. I have the Auditor General's report.
The Auditor General's report in 2021 indicted Lamens.
Indicted Lamens.
For what exactly?
On two grounds. Distributing unwholesome food and undersupplying. So we're not getting value for money.
In 2021?
In 2021, yes.
Which Auditor General's report?
This is the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana, pre-university education institutions for the financial year ended 31st December 2021.
I see.
And paragraph 608, supply of unwholesome food items. In controversy of Section 52 of the PFM Act 2016, Act 921, we noted that supplies of 65 bags of rice in March 2021 to Prisia Huni Valley Senior High and Technical School and 5 cartons of carnation milk to Ansakregwa Senior High School by Lamens Ventures were found to be unwholesome at our time of the audit in September, though the expiry date on the product was October 2021. As a result, there's a risk that the items will be served to students in times of food shortage with possible health implications. We recommended to the head of the schools to report the matter to the National Buffer Stock Company for appropriate action to be held accountable for any inappropriate disposal of the items. The question is, why didn't NAFCO act? So, if we had acted in 2021, we would have prevented the 2024 disaster.
And this is the same company?
Same company.
So I've seen page 308, yes.
Yes.
On the...
Yeah, paragraph 608,
yes,
page 133. And then when you come to page 142, it talks about how these suppliers, including Laments, were undersupplying. So even in terms of value for money, we don't get value for money. A notorious entity. And we continued to give all of this company all the privileges in the world. And I'll be coming to that. Let me go back to the FDA investigative report signed by its Ashanti regional head. So it says that the Moshosho rice, 25% broken white rice, with registration number, it provides all of that. The notified party was the National Food Buffer Stock Company. So take note, the National Food Buffer Stock Company awarded a contract, single source, to Laments. And typical of this government, all the scandals have been putting out, you see hurriedly incorporated companies. This company was incorporated in July 2020, a few days after they single source them, give them these contracts, which they are performing abysmally in terms of its quality, in terms of even the quantities. We are not getting the right supplies, they're undersupplying. But back to the FDA findings. It says that the rice was exported from India by Satya Balaji Rice Industries PVT Limited. The facility had been repackaging Moshosho rice from its original yellow 50 kg polypropylene bags, figure 1, into white 50 kg polypropylene bags with the inscription SIDAO ECOWAS, Regional Food Security, figure 2. This is what the FDA found out, the investigations. So I'm not making this up. Now, what's the best before date on the Moshosho rice was December 2023. There was no date on the new bags being used for the repackaging. Additionally, the country of origin, India, had been changed to Ghana, thus concealing the identity of the rice. The repackaging exercise was carried out without FDA's approval nor supervision. Then the report continues. The storage facility had neither been licensed for storage nor repackaging. So this is the point I was making. The storage facility had neither been licensed. Are you aware, Alfred, that as we speak today, despite all of this uproar, this upheaval, this brouhaha, the National Food Buffer Stock Company has still not registered its storage facilities? Can you believe that?
The storage facility in the Ashanti region?
Yes.
Has still not been registered?
Has still not been registered. And these are people purporting to be feeding our children and caring about their health and presenting wholesome food to them. If you have nothing to hide, I mean, what's happening in this country? Can't we respect our laws? Can't we follow standards? Do we know the implications of what we are doing? So NAFCO has serious questions to answer. And I am surprised that people are still keeping their jobs. All those guys at NAFCO should have been fired long ago. Nana Boachi,
on this matter of
the Abdul Wahab, the CEO, should have been fired if we had a president who cares.
On this matter of what the FDA found out, right?
Yes.
On the rebagging and repackaging, in fact, without expiry dates and so on, the FDA says they fined the company 100,000 cedis.
Yeah.
Correct? You have that?
So
and that fine was imposed on Laments Investment Africa for multiple regulatory violations, not the quality of the Moshosho rice imported from India. So this fine was for what they described themselves in this letter that I have a copy of, that it was an administrative fine of 100,000 cedis for the following regulatory breaches: rebagging the rice without prior FDA approval, conducting rebagging operations in an unlicensed facility, they confirm it themselves,
yes,
and failing to ensure FDA supervision during the rebagging process. So the fundamental question is that in the midst of all of these violations, at what point did the FDA then give them the green light to go ahead?
Brilliant question. Let me just add one more finding. The FDA discovered in this Ashanti Regional Head report that the facility had no qualified or trained person to supervise its activities. The NAFCO storage facility had no trained person, no professional person with expertise at that storage facility.
There was no trained person.
Can you believe that? This is what we are putting millions of our children through.
This is what the FDA said.
And Nana Boachi, Abdul Wahab and co. are all keeping their jobs. Can you believe that? Now let's come to this fine. So remember that the police had moved in 20th December, effected an arrest. Then the calls start coming from above. They are released. There is no prosecution. I have intercepted the original roadmap that the FDA decided to carry out on this matter, dated 29 December 2023. The FDA originally wanted to do 3 things. One, immediately get the company Lamens to desist from the repackaging exercise. 2, the company was to contact the office of the FDA to initiate the process of safe disposal of the 15,000 bags of rebagged rice. This is an internal memo of the FDA.
Safe disposal.
Safe disposal.
So it was supposed to be disposed
of.
Not consumed.
Not consumed.
That's the FDA.
The FDA original position. And then the fine was supposed to be pay an administrative charge of 150,000 Ghana cedis
But that's
to
100,000.
the Food and Drugs Authority by 12 January 2024. 150,000. This was yes. The question that we have to ask is that who intervened? What happened that the FDA had to then change its position? So the fine was reduced from 150 to 100,000. Then, to me, the most important matter, the disposal, didn't happen.
And it was distributed.
And it was distributed. I have the evidence here of the distribution to the schools, where the schools, in Greater Accra, Presec, my own Presec Legon, my alma mater. Will you believe that on the 2nd of February, before the FDA test results will arrive, because it is important, in order not to, for our viewers to follow. So when the arrest was made on the 20th of December, on the 21st of December, and this is a vital information so that our viewers will follow, the Ashanti Regional Police Command wrote to the FDA and attached samples from the NAFCO storage facility. The letter I have intercepted is here, dated 21st December 2023. It's on the Ghana Police Service letterhead. It's signed by J.J. Boy, the superintendent in charge of crime in the Ashanti region. And it says, Regional Director, Food Drugs Authority, sir, request for assistance. The Regional Criminal Investigation Department, RCID of Ghana Police Service, Kumasi, Ashanti, is investigating a case of being in possession of alleged unwholesome Moshosho bags of rice stocked at the National Food and Buffer Stock Warehouse, Bokrom, Kumasi. Investigations have reached a stage where the sample of the suspected Moshosho rice needs to be examined to ascertain whether or not the rice has expired or good for consumption. I would be very grateful if your outfit could assist in examining the rice and report, counting on your usual cooperation. And it's signed by J.J. Boy. I have followed up, made all my validation, made all my calls. They confirm, the police hierarchy confirms that they wrote this letter, sent the samples. Will you believe, Alfred, that the test results, a copy of which I have here, which arrived on the 6th of February, confirmed that there was insect infestation and high fat acidity.
Insect infestation? Insect infestation. Of the same rice?
Of the same rice. But however, Alfred, this is the tragic part. By the time the rice results, test results will arrive from the FDA on the 6th of February, orders have come from above that the rice should be distributed to our schools. And this rice was distributed on the 1st and 2nd. I have here the various headmasters signing for the rice on the 1st and the 2nd of rice. The Greater Accra one was received in Presec, Legon, so all the schools in Greater Accra went for their share. Achimota, Laboni, Chemu, Tema, Secondary, St. Thomas Aquinas, you name them. Then you have the Konongo Dumasi Senior High School. They all received theirs on the 2nd of February. I have here the signed sheets, St. Monica Senior High School.
One from St. Monica.
Yeah, Bolgatanga Senior High School. You know, none of these heads would dispute the fact that they received this rice. Indeed, I followed up with with checks. It's part of my parliamentary oversight. They've all confirmed.
Bolgatanga Senior High School,
Yes.
and St. Monica's.
St. Monica's.
We're going to put that on the screen right
Yes.
now. Bolgatanga Senior
Yes.
High School.
So
St. Monica's.
Bolgatanga Senior High School, you have St. Monica's Senior High School, you have Presec Legon, you have Konongo Odumasi Senior High School. I remember that some of these are regional distribution points. So when they receive the rice, other secondary schools come pick them up. So you have here all of these schools confirming that by the 2nd of February, they have received the rice. By the 2nd of February. Mm-hmm. And yet, the test results arrived on the 6th of February, 4 days after.
On the 6th of February?
On the 6th of February. And then the test results, a copy of which I have here. I'll give it to you. Mm-hmm. Presence of insect, positive. And it says it does not conform to the compliance standards. Then fat acidity is also here. Does not conform to the compliance standard. It's all here.
I see.
And this is food that our children have consumed.
And this is a test that was conducted by the FDA?
By the FDA. And now the FDA is claiming that the food is wholesome. They are contradicting their own 6th February. That is why I say that the FDA itself must be subjected to thorough investigations. The FDA has not covered itself in glory in this matter. Clearly, by their actions, they are complicit in this matter. And I'll show you why. I have even more evidence of their complicity. I have told you about the original roadmap of 29 December, and I've heard the head of legal at FDA confirm on Joy FM that yes, that was the original roadmap. They were to move in to destroy this rice, dispose it off, get the company fined 150,000, and then to make sure that there's no rebagging at that facility because it's not even a registered facility. But all of that has not been done. Now, let's come to the fine, the 100,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
I have here...
Hold on to that point.
Yeah.
And for the viewers, what's on the screen is the monitoring form of St. Monica's Senior High School when they confirmed the receipt of some 520 bags of the 50 kg repackaged
Moshosho rice from India, which
into plain sacks. It's the product description there is Moshosho rice repackaged into plain sacks.
Yes. So
and location A2 warehouse, St. Monica's Senior High School, Mampong.
Yes.
That's it there.
Yes.
I see. And then there's one from Bolgatanga Senior High School as well.
Yes.
Which we'll put on the screen, essentially.
Yes. And then you have St. Monica's, you have Konongo Odumasi, you have Presec Legon, all of that. So
the school heads, when they acknowledge receipt of this, the description they give there, that it was repackaged into plain sacks.
Yes.
This was without the expiry date.
Without the expiry date.
And at least, they wouldn't have known that the country of origin may have changed. But if it was without expiry date, shouldn't that have raised some eyebrows for the heads, the school heads themselves?
I've asked a number of the heads, and they say that they raised it, but, you know, there's this fear you may lose your job, you may be transferred, so they couldn't push it. And you see, the very tragic part is that even with this so-called extension from December to April, the heads didn't know. And they tell me that this rice is not consumed in 1 week or 1 month. Because sometimes the kids will go on vacation and come back and all, and you know that this double track, I mean, they are at home more than they are at school, you know. So there are some of the schools that way beyond this so-called April extension, they continue to serve the rice. That is how callous, how wicked. And the heads didn't know. They are finding these things for the first time. They didn't know that this so-called extension was to April. I mean, how wicked can people be? How wicked can people be? So May, June, July, August, people have consumed this rice. They didn't know because, and our laws are very clear. You cannot go and redistribute or repackage or share or sell food without clear inscriptions. LI 1541 is very clear. Act 851 is very clear. And now we've jeopardized the health. Look, if this was a country under any decent leadership, caring leadership, the president will have fired all these people and will have immediately ordered screening of all senior high school students. Because the doctors I have showed this evidence to, the doctors who have seen this FDA test result, they say that, look, this is scary. That the implications of this, eating rice that has insect infestation, they say it can lead to liver cancer. That's what the doctors are saying.
The doctors told
yes.
you that?
Yes. That continuous eating, because they were serving them continuously. That it is, you don't joke with insect infestation. That it is so dangerous. So if we had any leader who cares, if the Akufo-Addo leadership had any modicum of care, of empathy, they will have been ordering mass screening of our children. Before that, all of these people will have been fired. Now let's come to the fine, the so-called fine. Let's come to that.
There's the 100,000 CDs?
Yes, there's another scandal there. So I hold here in my hands a letter that laments Investment Africa rights. I mean, incredible. Dated 3rd January 2024. Addressed to the Food and Drugs Authority. Attention, Chief Executive Officer. Unauthorized repackaging of Moshosho rice. We refer to the above subject matter, and your letter reference FDA ASHREG ADM CH 2309, dated 29 December 2023. We hereby attach payment receipt for 50,000 Ghana cedis, being half of the administrative charge levied on our company for infractions of sections 1031 and 1301 of the Public Health Act 2012, Act 851. Yours faithfully, and this is signed by David Ajefi Mensah. Even the fine, Lamens decided, after it had been reduced from 150,000 to 100,000, they decided that they'll pay half. Can you believe that?
And so the 100,000 has not been paid? In
yes, full? Yes. All the checks I have done, the documents I have, they just paid half, 50,000. This is not even a slap on the wrist. It's a kiss on the cheek. And they've gotten away with it. And this is self-admission that all of what we are talking about is not propaganda. The company itself, in this letter signed by David Ajefi Mensah, is a director, owner of the company. And he says that, yes, I'm culpable, but I'm paying half.
We'll check that.
Now, will you believe that you had the day 29 December, Alfred? That was the day they were written to. And the letter is signed by the Chief Executive Officer. And Alfred, please take note of this. The
29th of December.
29th December. A lot of things were happening 29th December. I've already told you about the internal memo, about the original roadmap, that let's go and dispose of this rice. Let's make sure that the company is fined 150,000 and all of that. That didn't happen. That same 29th December is when the CEO of FDA writes to the managing director of Lamens and says unauthorized repackaging of Moshosho rice. And it reads, the Food and Drugs Authority Ashanti Region Office detected through a response to an alert that your company, Lamens Investments Africa Limited, has been repackaging Moshosho rice into different packaging bags with a different brand name, Sidao ECOWAS. The country of origin, India, of the rice has also been changed to Ghana, thus concealing the identity of the rice. Additionally, unlike the original bags, no best before date had been indicated on the repackaged bags. Then the letter continues. And then it says that it should pay an administrative fine of 100,000 Ghana cedis. Now note, it says that you are to note that the Food and Drugs Authority will take other appropriate regulatory measures, including prosecution, to guarantee the health and safety of the general public if you fail to comply. This is signed by the Chief Executive Officer. What date did I say? 29 December 2023. Would you believe, Alfred? And Ghanaians, listen to this. It's shocking. Even before this letter will arrive at Lamens, and before the fine will be paid, the FDA Chief Executive Officer, that same day, 29 December, writes another letter to Lamens discussing with them shelf life extension of the Moshosho white rice. Can you believe that? Same day. They haven't even paid the fine. What is so special about this company?
So
why is it that
the letter about the shelf life extension of this particular one
was dated 29 December. The day the company was fined, and you didn't even know whether they will pay or not. And indeed, the company paid. It was 3rd January that they said they will pay half. But before then, the FDA had begun discussions about shelf life extension. Let me read, because of time, let me just read the last. It says, with regards to the best before date, as stated on the product, the FDA is, however, unable to grant your request for a shelf life extension since the authority cannot determine the shelf life of the products. Shelf life determination is the responsibility of the manufacturer and must be based on the data obtained for shelf life studies conducted on the product, counting on your cooperation. Yours faithfully, Dr. Delise A.A. Darko, Chief Executive Officer. The paragraph before says that kindly note that an analytical report on the food product you submitted from the Food Research Institute has been reviewed. It, however, does not include a report on moisture and mold, which are also critical in making regulatory decisions in situations like this. Samples of the product were also sent to the FDA laboratory for analysis. It indicated at the time of testing to be wholesome. Please find attached the certificate of analysis.
Yes, it is on that part that they indicate that, the rice was wholesome.
That the rice was wholesome.
So that's where I want to find out if
and this is 29 December, and yet there's a 6th February examination results from FDA, which says that the rice had high insect infestation and high fat acidity. And so what's going on?
And between 29 December and the February, what happened? Because if this 29 December letter of application for the extension of shelf life was granted by the FDA for this company, and then in February, they find out that based on the details that you've read in this report of the test by the FDA,
6th February test results.
2 months later, they did their own test again and found out that the rice was insect infested and high in what?
High fat acidity.
High fat acidity. Then, what was the basis for the grant of that extension of the shelf life of the company? I think that's where the fundamental question is. Let me, at this point, I acknowledge the presence of Kojo Nsafuapoku, who is the chair of the Energy Committee of Dr. Mahmoud Bamia's campaign team. In fact, he is also a member of the MPP and aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bamia. Nana, Kojo Nsafuapoku, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
And thank you to Honorable Ablakwa. This is the first time I'm actually meeting him in person.
I see.
Can you believe that?
All the while.
This is the first time I'm actually meeting him in person.
Interesting.
I've never met him in person before.
I see.
Yeah.
But I've known you for quite a while.
I've known him from far for quite a while, but the first time I'm actually meeting him in person. He's a very, he's an infamous man.
I'm sure you meant to say, I'm sure you meant to say famous.
Infamous. How can I call somebody who is sitting there wearing John famous when I'm wearing DMB? You're infamous.
I was telling somebody that at this rate, in 2028, NDC will have no option but to make Okuje to vice presidential candidate.
Hey, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you.
2028.
I beg you.
Obviously, but John and Jane are going this year,
this
so
man.
2028.
So let me acknowledge the presence as well. He's just introduced him. Lawyer Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner. Is also a leader of one of the individual bondholder groups and the convener of the Kome Prekorillo demonstration, one of the foremost human rights lawyers we have in this country. Lawyer Martin Pebo, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Kansi. Not foremost human rights lawyer, so don't give me trouble.
Why?
Yeah, I'm a rookie. We are trying.
I'm very happy that you paid him back in his own coin. See, he's so comfortable. Yeah, he was putting me in the same trouble.
Oh, yours is recipe. We call it the matter speaks for itself. At this rate, 2028, Okujeto for vice presidential candidate. A signed, sealed, and delivered.
Why not president?
I beg you.
Why not president?
Because of
you want to even dip in my
No,
hopes.
but if let's assume the unthinkable happens and NDC comes into power. That's not going to happen, but touch wood. And 2028, John is leaving. Why can't he be president? Why are you giving him vice? The man has served well.
Alfred, let's come back to more social rights.
No, but Honorable Ablakwa, you've led your party well. I'm sure you can be president.
Well, who knows? Like I said, because of the way we are a bit conservative, they will say, oh, he should grow a bit more.
Brouhaha, so the man gray hair all over.
But Mr. can say, oh, let me greet Gamanche. Kentucky take you through the second. Kentucky take you through the second. Hey, Gamanche, dear, he owns this program.
That's true. That's
yes.
true.
Hey, for the man to have come out to say that he is looking for justice for what do you call it? Cecilia Adapa, the Cecilia Adapa case.
Yeah.
We will never stop mentioning this matter until we get that justice. Gamanche says that duty bearers should explain how Cecilia Adapa had so much money under her bed and other parts of her bedroom. Until date, there's no justice. That is the question for us. Number 2, let's greet Sophia Ekufu. Yes, Antoa. Ekufu-Addo's own relation, but who is not shying away from holding Ekufu-Addo to account. Yeah, accountability is her watchword. She doesn't care that, look, they are relations, right? And so we should always allow that. You remember last year, she was leading the demonstrations, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, please, Johnson Esiedu, this Johnson Esiedu, Auditor General, please,
okay.
52.5 billion. 52.5 billion. How much did we borrow from the IMF? That 4 years on, you still cannot account for this money. And you want Ekufu-Addo to escape through the back door. You see why Ekufu-Addo and Bawumia will have to answer for this. 52.5 billion.
In fact, this is going to be a major issue that we'll get into as well, because I've received further documentation on this particular money and this issue. So I promise you that because I needed some more information on this before we table it up for conversation, so that we know exactly which angle we're taking with this particular issue of the over 52.
And I haven't seen my kinky and fish.
It's about cost of living. We'll talk about it.
It's crazy. People are dying. People are dying. Hunger is a big problem. Big problem.
Mr. Ablakwa will have to leave us at some point, so I need to, and then I'll bring him in.
No, so it will be good for me to take a bite of all the plenty information is put out there for at least, so that we interrogate it while he's here.
Indeed. We are not going to do that in his absence. Let me just put it on record. But there was a question about between 29th December and February, what was happening. Because the FDA, in their latest reaction to your issue, they say that they confirmed that the rice was safe for consumption, which you read in the 29th December report from the FDA after rigorous lab tests.
Yes.
Now, you are showing me a letter dated February.
Yes,
that is
February
2 months
2024.
after they confirmed the wholesomeness of this rice.
Yes.
And between that 29 December 2023 and February, some distribution was done, only for them to come back in February and say that the rice, after their test again, was infested with insects.
Insects and had high fat acidity. And the analysts at the Food and Drugs Authority who signed these examination results are Bright Abibio Mensah, Marian A. Comey, and Joseph Ofosu Sian. Their signatures are here. The high insect infestation and the high fat acidity. The FDA examination certificate. These are the officials who signed it. They're here.
And even after this, they did not issue any directive to the company that to halt the distribution of this.
By the time this test result, look, so many funny things happen. By the time this test results arrived on the 6th of February, the rice had been distributed to the schools on the 1st and 2nd of February. And then guess what? This laments letter that they are sharing to media houses, saying that even for the distribution, they got permission.
Yes. We have a copy of that.
You have a copy of that letter.
The laments.
Have you paid attention to the date? February 9th, when the rice had already been illegally sent to the schools. On the 1st and 2nd of February. They were now applying to the FDA on the 9th of February. And let me read the letter. It's signed by David Ajefi Mensah, the Chief Executive Officer of Laments. Chief Executive Officer, Food and Drugs Authority. Dear Madam, request for rebagging and supply of Moshosho white double polysorted rice. Indian rice, 25% broken. I'm writing on behalf of Laments Investment Africa Limited to request your assistance in facilitating the rebagging and supply of the remaining quantity of Moshosho white double polysorted Indian rice, which currently bears a best before date of December 2023. As per the approval letter, reference number dated 15 January 2024, Lamens Investment Africa Limited has obtained shelf life extension approval from the Food and Drugs Authority until 30th April 2024 for the aforementioned rice product.
That's the Lamens letter.
Yes, this extension aligns with regulatory standards and ensures the continued quality and safety of the product. However, despite the extension granted by the FDA, we have encountered challenges stemming from public perception, potential political backlash, negative media reportage, and the need for extension explanation to certain state institutions such as Parliament. These factors have necessitated our request to repackage the remaining rice from the original sack, which bears the best before date of December 2023. We understand the importance of upholding consumer confidence and compliance with regulatory requirements. Therefore, we kindly seek your assistance in expediting the process of rebagging and supplying the remaining quantity of rice, ensuring that it meets all necessary quality and safety standards. Your prompt attention to this matter will be greatly appreciated.
Yes.
Please do not hesitate to contact me if you require any further information or clarification regarding this request. Can you believe this? The impunity. Meanwhile, by 9 February, all the rice was gone. They thought that we would not intercept all these documents from the schools.
So the rice was distributed before the
Before
request.
1st and 2nd of February. Check the St. Monica's, check the Precept.
And
check,
this Lamens letter is what's on the screen. Let's flip
yes.
to the
I mean, can you believe that?
The first page. Let's flip to the
and
first
to even
page.
have the audacity, Look,
So indeed,
people
the
of Ghana
was dated February 9th.
Yes, February 9th. People of Ghana, Lamens is not a charity organization. We pay them good money, millions of Ghana cedis, to give us quality rice. And then this company decides that they don't want to make losses. They must profit at all costs, make money at the expense of the health of our children. And then they have the audacity. Look, Alfred, how many times haven't you seen FDA people go shut down businesses, collapse people's business because they are having products on their shelf that have gone beyond best before date? How many times? And then you have this company is being treated as if they own the country. A company which should have been blacklisted as far back as 2021. On 20th December, they were caught having rebagged 15,000 of the 22,000 bags criminally. Then, even before they will get the so-called approval, writing on the 9th of February, pretending that they are now seeking approval, all the rice had been distributed. I mean, can you believe that?
Oh, so the FDA approval, when was it given? Which date was on that particular letter?
Which approval?
Because this one, the request that you are making reference to, the
Yes.
letter that we have a copy of, is going to be on the screen right now, which was written on the 9th of February.
Yes.
Requesting for rebagging and supply of Moshosho white
Yes.
by Lamens.
Yes.
You're saying that this was done after the fact?
After the fact. After the rice had gone to the schools already.
And the rice was distributed within the 1st and
Yes.
2nd of February?
Yes. That's why I say this matter, we need a national commission of inquiry because FDA is complicit. The National Food Buffer Stock Company is complicit. Remember, the rebagging was being done in their facility. You have the Ministry of Education, complicit. They were informed about this, according to the FDA investigative report. Then they pretended they didn't know, feigned ignorance. When I first put out this expose, they didn't take steps to protect our children placed under their care. They owe a duty of care to these children. They did not take steps as the ministry responsible for the protection of our children. So this matter, we need a national commission of inquiry. And somebody should be agitating for the mass screening of our children. You don't joke with this. Have you seen the videos of the Moshosho rice at the warehouse? I have put out those videos. I'll share them with you. I mean, even on the face of it.
Can we move on?
I see. No, but it's important. So in the end, what the FDA's position has been on this matter, and I need to bring it in because they spoke 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you're privy to the position that they have put out earlier, that they required Lamens to provide further evidence from the manufacturer to justify any additional extensions, which they said Lamens applied for that extension of best before date, and they took them through the processes. And once they qualified to have the date extended, the FDA said they did that, and eventually also gave them that go-ahead to have the rice distributed. They then took notice of the no expiry date on this particular rebagged rice. And that was what they were fined for, not the wholesomeness of the rice. But then the fundamental question that is raised here is what the FDA report itself, the lab report itself says. And at what point was that considered in the scheme of things?
Yeah. So
the FDA.
So look, what the FDA should have done in this matter, upon the tip of 20th December 2023, they should just have followed their original roadmap, the internal memo, which I read to you, of 29th December, where they said they will dispose of the rice and make sure that this company doesn't engage in this any longer. That's what they should have done. They should not have pampered this company, brought them close, gave them all of what they want. Look, this business of shelf life extension, when you listen to even the FDA officials themselves, Ministry of Education officials themselves, what do they tell us? They say that, you know, there's a difference between best before date and expiry. Everybody knows that. It's right. It's basic. It's not rocket science.
Just for the benefit of our...
And then they add that, you know, the difference between best before date and expiry is that for expiry is very contaminated, so poisonous you can't consume. But for best before date, what it means is that the quality has reduced. You've heard them. Quality has reduced. It's not at its optimum in terms of its nutritious value and all of that. The question that we should ask, if these people had any respect for us, the Ghanaian people, why should our children be served food? Let me just go with the argument. You put the 6th February FDA result, which shows that there was insect infestation and high fat acidity. And let's go with the FDA argument. And our colleagues in the MPP who are parroting this. Why should any government be serving its children with food that now has inferior quality? Food that you cannot guarantee is optimum nutritional value. Why? Why can we be so callous and cruel? Look, in other countries, even the best before food in great shape, they are passing legislation to enhance its nutritional value because there's a link between nutrition and high IQ. Michelle Obama, what did she do in all her 8 years? Her campaign as First Lady, what she took up, her course that she took up as First Lady, was how to enhance the food of American school children. You know they provide one hot meal a day at lunchtime. She passed, she ensured that there was legislation to improve the nutritional value. So how is it that in Ghana, we seem okay with our officials telling us that, oh, we extended the best before. When you extend best before, you can't guarantee the quality. The nutritional value reduces. But let your children eat it like that and accept it. Meanwhile, this company has not been made to refund what we paid for. The millions of Ghana cedis we paid for in this contract is for us to have top quality rice. And it is so mind-boggling. It's absolutely shocking.
What I hear...
that our officials can look at us in the face and tell us all of this hogwash.
I want to once again thank you for staying tuned with us. Please, if you're a new member here, I'll urge you to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like and also share to other members to watch as well. Thank you.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.